All right, guys, another episode of Shellonomics. We are very, very excited for this one. This game is getting some DLC next week. So what a blessing and thrill it is to be talking with somebody who actually was a part of this game's success. We're here with Andre, a senior 3D environmental artist in the video game world. Andre, how's it going tonight, my friend?
That's me, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's talk Turtles here. What is your origin story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Right. So here in Brazil, TMNT is quite popular. So it's everywhere, basically. But I grew up I was born in 1999. And I grew up in the 2000s. So I grew up with like Raimi Spider-Man, the CG TMNT movie from 2007, I believe, if I'm correct. I don't want to upset any
hardcore fans. You're okay.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's my favorite depiction. I did watch the 80s show, the 2003 show as well, which is, I really enjoy that one, the animated series. I'm really afraid of getting stuff wrong.
That's okay.
No, yeah. But as I was saying, like the CG 2007 movie has a movie tie-in game, and I played the heck out of that game. And really, I must have had like 200 or more hours because back then PS2 you didn't really count the hours on, you just played it, But
yeah,
I spent so long on that.
And that was one we just talked about this in one of my Twitch streams earlier. Was that game you're talking about was also on the Xbox 360, and it was fun to play it on there because that's where achievements were too. So actually a little more of incentive to play on your dream journey. And no, go right ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say recently I got an Xbox recently, and again, right? I used to have a 360. I had to sell it to actually buy a GPU to study 3D. We can get into that.
Yeah.
But the achievement sound is so nostalgic. I just love it so much, and just getting an achievement is so satisfying. I feel like that's gotten away from us a little bit.
Yeah, it has. There's actually it's just a badunk, and it's just, even if you're just turning the game on, they'll have some random ones like, hey, find a pizza, find the hidden door, and you're like, oh, it's so cool. Yes. And that's why it's fun to play, Splintered Fate on Steam, because they still have some achievements there you can unlock while you play.
Yeah, that was one of the great things about the game, is that we have very engaging achievements, right? And yeah, it's something I definitely enjoyed from like playing it on Steam.
Yeah, exactly. So one more thing about the 2007 Turtles, and then we'll get into a little more on your career here. So was it, again, you saw us when you were 8, so how did it feel watching this? Did it feel dark and edgy like when you saw Leonardo and Raphael go at it?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I mean, I was really a fan of Shadow the Hedgehog already at this point. And so, like, Raph being the vigilante and stuff, and them going at it, it was sort of that shadow edgy energy, And I was an emo kid, so I was living for that, dude. And in the game, you got to play as him and do some like parkour, some battle and stuff. It was really, really very striking, and it's something I think about like regularly.
And those games were nice too, because that was the era where I grew up in the old G Nintendo era with NES, Super Nintendo. What was nice about this TMNT game we're talking about real quick too is you had unlimited continue. So as a kid, if you struggled in that boss fight, you saved right there. You didn't have to go all the way back to World 1. I really enjoyed it. I liked the synergy too, like with those team up combos where you could like throw each other from building to building.
Yes, dude. Yeah, the platform was great on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. So where did this gaming artist dream or vision come from? How did you feel this was your calling in your line of work here?
Dude, so the year was, I think it was 2007, so emblematic year for we're talking. I was not supposed to be playing this game when I did, but I didn't have a PS2. So fun fact about Brazil, or not so fun, is games were quite hard to come by, and very expensive, kind of difficult. Usually what we would do is we would go to somewhere called a LAN house. You probably had those, right? So it's someone that had PCs, and you could rent out like a set time, etc. They would do that for consoles as well. So this particular LAN house I went to in my neighborhood, all the neighborhood kids would go there. No one had a console at home, etc. And they had PS2s, and I think the PS3s and Xbox were just coming out, or had just come out. So had some of those too. And first time I walked in, I was gonna rent out some movies with my dad, and then I saw these people like playing or doing something. I'd never seen video games before. Took me long enough, right? But anyway, I saw these people playing. I was like, wait, what? What is this, right? And I saw someone playing God of War 1 for the PS2, right? And I saw the enemies come out of the ground, the VFX and stuff, and then Kratos, like I didn't know his name was Kratos, of course, but this character flinging his swords, and it was like something clicked. I was like, "What is this? And how do I get my hands on it?" And most importantly, when I did get my hands on it, I was having these experiences, and I wanted to provide these experiences for people. Like something clicked in my brain. I was like, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do," right? But this is Brazil, 2007. There are no there is no gaming industry virtually in Brazil. It's very small, and of course that changed over the years. And today we have a booming games industry. We have indie titles. It's incredible scene, but at the time there wasn't even any schooling for it. And my parents were always very supportive of this. Back then I was drawing. I was doing drawings and stuff. I loved Sonic, as I said. I loved Spider-Man, still do. I love TMNT. So I was drawing all of these characters. I was like, maybe I'm gonna become an artist. I didn't know anything about games or whatever. I just loved them. So I spent most of my teen years exploring avenues of course, doing kid stuff, school, etc. But exploring avenues of like, how do I become a game artist or a game developer? It wasn't until 2016 roundabouts. I was almost done with high school, going into university, didn't have money to pay for uni. So there was a couple of things that I was doing. One of them was I found a course on Udemy that was a 3D environment course. Right. At this point, I had already done characters in 3D, didn't really enjoy them that much. I had already done concept. I was drawing, so I was like, hey, let's do concept 2D. But I was so bad at it. And of course, you're bad at everything you start, etc. But it wasn't that engaging to me at the time. Today, I really do enjoy concepting. I do enjoy doing digital art, but back then, not so much. And I did this Udemy environment course. And I did a little barrel and like a fence. And it was really fun. It was like the most fun I had during this whole process. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to do environments then. Right. And that's sort of how it started, but I wasn't good enough to be hired yet, so I was just a kid going into uni, couldn't pay for uni, couldn't get hired. So what do? I learned how to program. So I did like a crash course, learned to program in like 6-7 months and got hired at a serious games company. So serious games are like games for universities, like corporate universities or companies trying to train up employees, how gamified systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So not what I wanted per se, but it's games. It's adjacent. I was like telling myself that. I ended up, it was just me and this other guy, which is still my friend, Mateos, really great guy. And he was a programmer and I was sort of everything else, for these Unity games. I was hired originally as a programmer, but I pressured everyone into like letting me do art. So I did do the occasional programming. I programmed their sites. We did a lot of web-based games, so I programmed those, etc. But I pressured everyone into using Unity, which is a game engine for those that don't know. Unity is a free game engine that anyone can use, similar to Godot. Godot is really like in
Nice.
the news now. Everyone's talking about it, etc. Back then it was Unity, and we started doing it. This is 2016, 2017. The VR boom is in the forefront, of gaming. So everyone's doing VR and stuff. So we started pitching VR to clients, and we ended up doing tons of VR games, but for corporate universities and stuff. By day, I was doing this to pay for a university, and then by night, just like Raphael in the 2007.
Yeah.
I was doing my vigilante work, which was studying art, studying Unreal Engine, which is like another engine, free as well, but more robust, etc. And a lot of games are using it right now. A lot of companies were using it back then as well. And I wanted to work, right? I wanted my freelance, So I started getting some freelance jobs here and there, but I was still so green, like I was super junior. And then after 3 or 4 years of this, moonlighting, doing uni, graduated uni, etc., managed to get into a Brazilian company. So by this point, the Brazilian game industry had quite a boom. We had mostly mobile companies, indie companies, but some outsourcing studios as well. So it was really taking shape. The industry was taking shape, and today it has a bigger shape. You could work locally if you liked it, which I'm very happy about. But I got hired at a company called Afterverse, making a game called PKXD, very famous in like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brazil. It was this highly stylized game, social, similar to Roblox, quite similar actually.
Okay.
And it was really famous. And I was really happy because I was finally working in entertainment games. So yay, I made it, right? I was really happy. And 6 months later, we get to SCMC. So I spent like 6 months at Afterverse, and then I got approached by a dear friend of mine today, which is Tamir. He was like, "Hey, really like your portfolio. We're doing like this game, TMNT." He didn't tell me that it was TMNT. Of course, you need to sign like a bunch of stuff first. And I was really stoked, man. I did an interview with the art director at the time, and still is Eduardo Gonzalez, and at the time Chance Rowe has since left the company, but Ed is still there. He was the art director for the project all the way through. And I started my journey at SMC, spent the last 3 or 4 years there. I don't recall exactly how much time I spent there, and went on to a different adventure earlier this year.
Man, congrats on it. So when you were drawing these, you said it was more environment. So you're drawing more like the background, so to speak, right? So it's not like you're drawing the turtle. You're pretty much like, hey, I'm going to put some cool stuff in a layer. I'm going to draw. So when you were sketching as a kid, did you do that also, like with your shadow and turtles, or did you just draw the character?
I just drew the character. Yeah, no, okay. I never thought that I would be doing like environments and stuff.
Okay.
And I make these environments in 3D. So I'm doing like, I'm modeling like the actual, like the chair or the bricks and stuff, and laying them out in the 3D space. So it's much different than 2D. And I wasn't prepared when I was a kid. I wasn't prepared for like all of the different things that were involved, for sure.
So you went to school, like you say, that's how it usually is in life though too. You got to stay hungry, and you're not annoying, but you just have to keep knocking on the door, and eventually one's going to finally open. So congrats on that. And real quick with your video games here now, just because with everything going up in price now, Nintendo Switch 2, how much was a difference in game? Like, let's say a game in the States would cost $50 or $60. Did it cost you an additional $10 or $20 to get it overseas, or back in the day, if you can recall? I'm just curious on that.
Yes. It's multifactorial. So one of the things is nothing used to be manufactured here. Some stuff is, but it's not as industrialized. So we imported a lot of stuff. So heavy taxation on imports still to this day. Yeah. Around 2011 to 2013, it got better. So we had parity, especially because the real was 1-to-1 with the dollar. So it was much easier. But today, the dollar is worth 5 times more than the real. So $60 game is 500 or so reais, Brazilian reals, which is my currency. Sure. And the minimum wage is 1,500. So it's a third of the minimum wage, one game. So really not easy to get games today. And back then, it was sort of the same deal. So what we would do is we'd bootleg them, man. So for instance, it's very common, and it's the case with me, that you will find someone that has never seen an original PS2 game. So an actual original in-box. Like, it's usually people have only seen pirated games or pirated bootleg games. And it was really common. And that's the Brazil story with gaming is intrinsically tied to piracy.
So real quick on that, just because PlayStation 2, one of my favorites and a classic is GTA 3. So did you have a bootleg GTA 3? And if you could, for our viewers hearing about this for the first time, what was the key difference in the bootleg version versus the real version?
It's the same game, but it's burned into a common CD or a DVD RW. It's just the same game, but someone ripped it and got it into so. But very interesting question, because for GTA 3, not that common for there to be bootleg modded versions, but GTA San Andreas, many different bootleg modded versions made it into the PS2. I do not know how they would do it. I assume that they would get a PC build of it, mod it, and then somehow port it back into PS2. I don't know, but we would have GTA San Andreas, Rio de Janeiro. We would have GTA Goku, Dragon Ball. We'd have like mod menus where you can select all the different characters. GTA Naruto, I've seen. And to this day, there are bootleg copies of these being sold today because the PS2 is still very popular here. And close to when GTA 5 got announced, we got GTA 5 for the PS2. And you would boot it up thinking, I remember this was such an experience when I was a kid. I would boot it up thinking, how the hell did they make GTA Sonic? And I was like, what? How does that even work? What's that collab? And I'd boot it up, and it's just GTA, normal GTA, but instead of playing with CJ, you'd be playing with Sonic or some other character.
That is so incredible how popular it was out here because, like I say, retro era here, Big Turtles guy. There's tons of modded Streets of Rage games. You know, Streets of Rage 2, very popular fighting game for Sega.
Yeah.
There's one with the Ninja Turtles. They even did one with the Shredder's Revenge Ninja Turtle characters. So thank you for pointing out, Andre. I never knew that, you know, bootlegs like that were that popular. So essentially, it's really like popular. When people would get a CD, you know, you'd put it in your computer, burn it, copy it on a CD-RW, put whatever kind of, you know, I guess some sort of art on there or whatever you want, and voila, here's your bootleg. Wow.
Most of the times, they didn't even have art.
It was just a simple writing and marking, like how you
with
how your mixtape with your girlfriend with love, Stacy from Andre.
Exactly, dude. Exactly, and it was really, really popular, and most games were like that.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah, funny anecdote. I only got internet like a PC at home in like 2011, 2010, something like that. I was 10, 11. So I didn't get any. My game news came from magazines and stuff like that. But I didn't really pay attention to that. I was a kid, you know. So one day I rolled by the little shack or store with the bootleg titles, and I saw God of War 2. And as you know, big fan of God of War 1. Yeah. I didn't know God of War 2 was launched, so I thought it was just a bootleg or a mod or something like that. So I bought it, came home, plopped it in, and I started playing. I was like, this is not a mod. This is a new game. Like this is God of War 2. And this is an experience that can never happen again because I have internet, you know. So this is something I really cherish, that moment, and I remember it vividly because I was like, this is a new game. This is a completely different game. When did this come out? Like, so I just played it. It was an amazing experience.
Dude, fantastic. So let's talk about getting into this Splintered Fate role here. Now, before this, though, like you say, you are a gamer. What was gaming like for you growing up? Like you said, it was hard to get games. Were you more of a platformer? What type of games did you play? And did you enjoy the online experience when games were starting to play online? Like because PlayStation 2 did have online, not many games, but there were a few of them.
Dude, yes. I only found out that PS2 had online play many, many years later. So I never knew that. It was really not popular here, especially because all of the consoles were unlocked. So they had a chip inside them that would unlock the console, etc. So gotcha. I'm not even sure that you could connect them online, but maybe I'm talking out of my, behind your eye. Sure. I really don't know. But growing up, I would play anything, man. I really enjoyed everything. Over the years, I don't enjoy like sports games and racing games that much anymore, but I still do play them occasionally. Sure. But the games I would play most were Resident Evil, God of War, TMNT, as I said. There were I used to buy bootlegs, right? So some of these bootlegs came with emulators. So you would get like 8-bit games, 16-bit games, 32-bit games on the PS2. I have no idea how they do that. Okay, but anyway, so I would play like Mario on the PS2. I'd play Streets of Rage, like you said, the TMNT arcade games as well. Those are really fun. The Simpsons arcade games as well, really great. So I did get my fair share of retro gaming done on the PS2. Excellent. Crazy to think. And then around 2011, I got an Xbox 360. And man, that really changed my life. I got to tell you. And dude, I remember the first time I saw like GTA 4 running on, because that was a big jump, man. Like from GTA San Andreas, I saw GTA 4 running. I thought it was fake. I looked at it. I was like, what are you? I thought it was a video. And then the guy said, no, yeah, you play it. And he gave it to me. And like I was running around with Nico, got hit by a car, and then he flopped around. That was like, really like one of a kind experience again, and I don't know, nowadays I don't get that much with games. Maybe it's because I understand games better now that I know how to make them and stuff, but it was so magical for me. But yeah, I kind of got lost in the question, my bad. But games I played when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
all sorts of games, but mostly platformers. I enjoyed.
Now, real quick with the 360, were you blessed to not have the Red Ring of Death since we can go back in nostalgia form?
I did not get the Red Ring of
Nice.
Death. No, I was one of the only ones. And I had
One of the only
the black Xbox 360 Elites, and I don't know if those were common or not to get the Red Ring of Death. But man, that thing was kicking up until I sold it.
Wow, congratulations on it. It's one of the systems my brother and I love because you were able to buy. Like, again, you could buy the Turtle Games, the Ninja Turtles arcade. I just played that a while ago. I still can't get the arcade final achievement to. I don't know if they call it plat on there or what did they call it for 360. Real quick, was it? I know it's for PlayStation. It's called Platinum Game when you get all. So
good
I don't know
question, man.
Magic,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I know because it's that one I still can't get, but I did enjoy those back then. Again, it was nice to have the online experience. So yes, real quick though too, you have phenomenal English. So how imperative was that on your gaming journey? Because a lot of gaming companies are in the States, and what made you, or was it your parents that influenced you to learn English? Because you speak it very, very fluently.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it was actually a very funny story. Of course, my parents were always very supportive. I'll give them that. But when I was playing games when I was a kid, they weren't really dubbed, or some bootlegs came with like subtitles and stuff. But most of the ones I bought didn't. And so if sometimes I got snagged in a game or so, I remember a particular instance when I was playing Web of Shadows, Spider-Man Web of Shadows on the PS2. And I was really disappointed because like it's a completely different version from the Xbox version. Anyway, but it had text in it. I remember I read twice and I was like, I don't know what that means. So I picked up a dictionary and looked at it. And so I started playing with a dictionary by me. And and so to know what the objectives were, and etc. And that gave me a pretty good understanding of written English and a little bit of spoken, just a little bit. And then you were talking about, you asked me about online games and how the experience changed. Going back to that, because I forgot to answer that, but it fits perfectly here. 2010, 2011 was right around the time Minecraft was becoming really popular. And it was also right around the time where I got my first PC. Okay. And so I started rediscovering gaming in a new light because online play was possible now.
Right.
I remember I downloaded TeamSpeak. My English was not this English that you know now. It was okay, but not super advanced. I joined a public TeamSpeak Minecraft like server, and it was a bunch of English people. Some of them are still my friends to this day, and I started playing with them on their server. And I really started learning English then, because I was talking every day to these people. And I used to have a British accent for the longest time. No joke. Because like I was copying the way they spoke, right? Sure. And then, later down the line, I started working with Americans more. And now I have this sort of, I don't know, LA surfer dude accent or that K.
Very high energy. No, I love it. It's incredible. And so pretty much you were self-taught then, pretty much, right? You didn't go to school for any of this? Incredible, man.
No. At any point did I go to school. Of course, some of the schools I went to had English as one of the subjects, but never like at a high level or anything. And yes, it was instrumental for me to get jobs. And anyone, I mentor a lot, right? I mentor a lot of students. I do a lot of classes and stuff. And I usually tell them that, hey, it's paramount that you learn English still, even though we have a booming games industry here in Brazil, it's mostly a global industry, right? So it will help you. Like it is paramount that you learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we're going to fast forward here now. We have a Ninja Turtle game that's coming out. And what were your thoughts going in? Because for those who are unaware, because this game has been around for a while, this was only on Apple Arcade when it first came out. So what was the story again? Without, I don't know how much you can reveal here, but just like, what was the mindset of like, really, like, were they afraid to just go all out on consoles at the time? If you can share that and just share like how this story came together, because this is a phenomenal story, this game, just everything about it. A lot of fans that are Turtle fans and non-Turtle fans love it too.
Dude, I'm really glad. Like it was really the opportunity of a lifetime for me. Like it was the first sort of big game that I released, like a AA game. So I also don't know how much I can speak to that or not, but I'm not at SMC anymore, so I don't know if that would get me in trouble or not. I am under NDA though. But here's what I can say: when I joined, they had already made the deals and stuff that go around like making a game. So I joined. They had already been doing the game for a year, I think, when I joined, but it was like a 2-year dev cycle, and we only had 6 or 7 months to do the art from zero to finish. Like they had some environments, some stuff done, but like mostly not, right? So it was just me, Judy, which was the other environment artist, great environment artist. She's Taiwanese, amazing. And the Chance, of course, that he was a 3D environment art director, and Ed was the art director for the project. And then we had Brian Cairns, amazing artist. He was helping out. He did all the turtles, he did the characters, but he was also helping out environments too because he's an incredibly versatile artist. So why Apple Arcade? Long story short, Paramount and Apple got together and they commissioned SMC to make the game. It was for Apple's new Apple Arcade service. They were going to do an overhaul of the system and they needed like new flagship titles and stuff. I imagine it must be the same story with like Hello Kitty Island Adventure, stuff like that, where like big name publishers come together and like, hey, like Apple approaches them and is like, hey, can you make a game for our service and stuff like that. It's probably like that. I don't know, but it came out for Apple Arcade because of that. So it was an Apple Arcade exclusive. It made quite the splash, made a good success, and I believe, I'm not sure, that SMC pushed to have it released to consoles and other platforms. It is something we pushed for internally as well because we do realize that more platforms is always better, more people get access to it. So I was really stoked to see it come like to other platforms.
Yeah, because that's what happened was I was lucky to get a free trial for Apple Arcade when this game. I'm like, why the freak is this coming on? Like, I had the iPhone, so I'm like, thank God I have an iPhone, not an Android, because I would have kind of sucked to not be able to play a Turtle game because I've played just about every Turtles game there is known to man. And I had to buy a controller because I wanted to have the controller. And I also bought from Best Buy, you could have those, cool technology, the jack where your phone would play on your television. So for me, it was like I was playing on a console because I had the controller in hand and the iPhone was connected to my TV. So I got to enjoy it as a gaming experience. And what a phenomenal, so feel free, I guess, for those who are brand new to Splintered Fate, just in case they don't know what that is, can you explain just a quick background story on the game itself? And then we can talk a little bit more of like what your favorite designs you actually personally did.
Yeah, hell yeah. So TMNT Splintered Fate is a roguelite spin on the TMNT beat 'em up formula. What that means is that you do a run with like one of the 4 turtles or the 4 of them because it's a co-op game, and you get as far as you can before you're beat. And when you're beat, you go back to the beginning, but you keep some of the currency, some of the things that you got during that run, and use it to buy upgrades that you can then use to go again on another run and try to get farther. And the farther you get, maybe you progress the story and stuff like that. So if someone has played Hades, it's very similar game. It was one of the inspirations for the game. So that's basically it. And as far as like some of my designs for the game, usually the art director and the concept art director would make concepts and stuff, style guides, and we would just go off of that. But I did do the entirety of the home layer. I was responsible for the entirety of streets. I helped. A lot of my assets are in the rooftops as well because me and Judy, we collabed because the streets had buildings and the rooftops used the same buildings, right? So we collabed together, did some of those. For the sewers, most of the sewers were already done by the time I got in. It was part of that pre-production phase. It was the first biome that was being made. But later down the line during DLC, during the DLC that has been announced, we actually went back to the sewers and remade all of it. So we remade the art because by this point, the team was bigger. We had Tim Burrows together with us, senior artist, incredible artist. And the art style of the game evolved, right? So we went back. A lot of the things for DLC looked much better. So we were like, hey, you know what? Let's go back, redo some of the stuff on the base game as well, on like with the previous release, and make it look better for players. And all that is coming as a free update. So I was really stoked to see, that come in.
Well, you guys have taken very good care of us because just even as a salesman, for those who have never played this game, we could be wrong here, but as of right now, we're recording this in September of 2025. I think, unless you're playing like Fortnite or something, I think this is the only true Ninja Turtle game that is cross-play. So you can get this on Xbox, Switch, Steam, whatever you want, and play with everybody. Shredder's Revenge, they didn't do that, and that really caused – love the game, but still a little backlash because you need to have the same console. So that was awesome. And now I really want to talk about the home, because now when you talk about the 3D spots, did you get to draw like the video game console, Metalhead, like all those little things in the layer? Because those are just, as a diehard Turtle fan, that's just a nice really treat for us Turtle fans.
Everything with game dev is like a huge team effort. So no, I can't take credit for the whole thing. Okay. There are a couple things that are like 100% me. So there's a little corner on the right where Raph has a little like gym. Beside his little home gym, there is a couple couches and some posters. Mm-hmm. So those posters are all mine. They're all my ideas. I made all of them. So one of them says like ABCD, which is like a play on AC/DC's Back in Black. So it's like ABCD Back to School. Another one says Pause, which is like Jaws, but like it's they're like spoofs. And I thought it would be really funny. One of them is, I don't think anyone noticed this, by the way. So scoop for you, but one of them is the Turtles van, but in like vaporwave sort of 80s style, going like towards the sun. And another one of the posters is April O'Neil in a sort of like a hair salon poster style. That was Chance's idea, actually. So really funny. Next time you're in the home layer, check it out. Another idea of mine, but it's always a team effort, man. So it's everyone like coming together. So the characters are not me. That's the character artist that makes them. Okay. So it's either Brian or Chance that made them. I'm not sure. Okay. That same goes for the Turtles. A lot of outsourcing was used as well. So we got the wonderful people at Devoted Studios that made a lot of the couches. A lot of stuff was reworked later on. So most of the textures for the home layer were reworked. So those were made by me and the team, Tim and Judy. What else? The VFX were done by incredible Edwin, game artist, tech artist at Super Evil. Incredible guy as well, Edwin. He shipped me an SSD that I had RMA'd. Incredible guy. What else? Yeah, it's pretty much it. Yeah, I think I covered all the parts of the home layer, right?
Yeah, seems like a lot of magic, though, just because that's how it was for the 1990s movie. They had a deadline with X amount of time, and it's like it's rushed. But if you love what you're doing, you just know the fruits of your labor you're going to be able to enjoy, hopefully. And dude,
it was exactly that. Yeah,
I just can't. And like you say, you can't have a great movie without a great supporting cast. So when you guys from top to bottom with your company here that you work for, the Discord is awesome for this game because that's how I made a lot of friends. Because I didn't know. I've heard of Hades, but I never played it. A lot of people in there were very friendly gamers. If we had questions, and it's just crazy. Like, the replay value in this game is just so high, which is insane. Now, for those again who don't know, you're looking for your father, the Turtles. You're looking for Splinter, and you have to beat this game. Is it 9 times minimum to actually get Splintered free? Is that right? I think 9 is the magic number. I don't know why they chose that, but you have that going for you for the replay value. Just tons of new people coming in all the time to play. They did a great job with the artwork for the Turtles. They actually, it doesn't feel, it's their own universe pretty much. It's just another, awesome game. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you ever played this on the 360. Did you ever play Out of the Shadows? That's a game that you actually can't get now. But it was a really great game that came out for the 360 and Steam way back when. They had the movie from I don't know if you'll ever be able to find it, but if you can check out a playthrough on YouTube one day.
I did not play this one. Yeah, I need to check it out.
I'm going to send you a link. Cool. I played it before, but it has the movies, the first movie's theme song, but it just had that kind of vibe. So it was like a dark ninja kind of feel, and the tone was great by the voice actors. Just a whole, like you said a couple times right in this episode here, a big team effort in order to make this a success. And now, were you surprised? Like, what were your thoughts going through when they said, "Hey, Andre, guess what? this game is doing so cool. We're going to have DLC and we're going to bring Casey Jones and we want you to be a part of this. So how thrilled were you for that experience? And please do share, like, you know, your little tricks. So when I play, I can say, hey, that's Andre waving to me in that little spot there.
Dude, I'm out of words because Casey Jones, one of my favorite characters. Like, you know, I really love the hockey feel, even though I'm from Brazil. So I don't know how to, you know, ice skate. I've never even seen snow. Right. But I don't know, dude, Casey Jones is just so iconic. Fun fact, I made an internal previs for the Casey Jones reveal trailer. So it was me and other two artists. The marketing team approached us and was like, "Hey, we need a trailer for the DLC. Can you like make this work, etc." Gave us a storyboard, and dude, we went to work. We did it in like 3 days. I have it on my portfolio up actually. We did like a previs in Unreal. It was an amazing experience, really great. And then we shipped it off to an external partner. They finished it up, and it looked really cool. So I was stoked when they approached me to make the DLC. During the DLC like VO sessions, I got to meet Yuri Lowenthal. That he's our Mikey. He does the voice for Spider-Man PS4 as well. Wow. So, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I was fangirling, you know. So, it was an amazing experience. And so I think the Punk Yard Jam DLC, which is the Casey Jones DLC, is some of my best work artistically. We really, at the time, the company was scaling up, and we had someone join called Ranko Prozo, amazing artist, an incredible friend of mine, and he was like instrumental in shifting like my perspective artistically, and really impacted him and Tim, of course, really impacted how the game looked at that point. And so we were making crazy good art at this point, and the DLC came out so beautiful. I have him up on my portfolio. I did many different rooms for the Punk Yard Jam DLC. I made the shop, which is was the crane. The crane was Tim's idea, and then I made the crane. I made it work. Optimization was a big part of that room because it struggled to run on Switch because we have huge trash piles, and those were like very demanding optimization wise. So I had to optimize them a ton for them to run on Switch. What else? Judy made some incredible rooms as well. One of her rooms has some cranes that move and they pick up trash, and like I don't know if you know that room specifically, but it has some great animation on it. She collabed with the tech team, Felipe Reyes, which was our anim tech director. Really great guy as well, Brazilian as well, working on the game. So yeah. Oh, actually, you asked like postcard moments, me like waving to you. The entry room, the donut, the Punk Yard donut.
Right in this town.
That's all me, dude.
Oh, all right. Perfect.
Yep.
I mean, so this game still has a lot of life, which is, and again, what's beautiful about this game, I think it's a long-lasting game just because, you know, retro games would take maybe an hour and a half when you're good at the game. And this, I believe there's just 4 worlds. So every world takes about maybe give or take 15, 20 minutes. So if you're good and you level up, you can beat this game within an hour. And that's what keeps me coming back because it's not a full grind unless you want it to be.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's definitely like a sit down, pick it up, play a little bit, go about your day. That's what I enjoy about it. And that's why it worked so well on the Switch. That's why we wanted it on the Switch as well. Yeah.
And now that, exactly. You have Switch, you have PlayStation, Steam. People, and it's I think they can still Steam play at home, obviously, right? Because you have your iPhone. That's where it all started. So I'm pretty sure it's still there too. So
yeah, it's still on Apple Arcade. We still support all the platforms, and they all receive the same updates and stuff, same game build. So,
and for those who don't know too, this game supports both. So if you want to play with your buddies at your house, there's a couch co-op availability for you old school retro gamers. But if your buddy lives if I'm playing with Don in another country, you can also squad up with online play too. And we already plugged this. The cross-play is huge just because anybody can play on any platform. As we slowly start bringing this in for a landing, can you walk us through just a day in the life of these designs as to what goes on in your mind? And this is just your own. This is going to be maybe the toughest question I ask you, but how do you deal with the negativity? Because we had a toy artist on here one day, and it's like it comes with the territory. But just there are some people who are very sensitive to criticism, and in case there's somebody listening to this right now and they're like, they want to try it, but they're afraid. But you got to put yourself out there. So can you explain to us just how many times it would take you to get your donut, so to speak, in that DLC to get it right?
Very, very tough and good question, man. I think, I'll tell a personal anecdote that might resonate with people. So in 2020, my parents lost their job. I became this was COVID. I became the only source of income in my household, right? At the time I was 19, 20. So I was ready for that responsibility, but it was still, and what happened was at that point, I really couldn't make a mistake, right? I couldn't make mistakes at that point. So I was providing for my family. It was just me. So, and this is me working remote and trying to get stuff better. I hadn't landed SMC yet, and I did land SMC, started there, but with time, it ate away at me that so much that it translated into my art. I couldn't make mistakes in my art, so I plateaued. I wasn't improving anymore, so I was just making safe art, comfortable, right? And that's right around the time Ronco sort of joined the company and stuff like that. And he helped me a little bit with that. But who really helped me was my partner Luisa. She bought me a little gouache kit, and it really instigated me to go back to doing classical art, like physical art, instead of just digital. And I started doing it, and I don't know if you ever used gouache, but it's only mistakes because it does not behave. Gouache, it wasn't doing anything that I wanted it to do, and it was really a humbling experience. But also, it connected me again with what made me start doing art in the first place when I was a kid. Right? It was just me with myself, and just doing it, just expressing myself and using these tools and just making whatever at low stakes. And I could make mistakes again. I was free again, right? And that shifted something in my brain, and I came back to digital art, started making mistakes again, showing my mistakes, and asking people for feedback and doing stuff I was not doing before, and that I couldn't think of before. Both artistically and just showing my mistakes and being vulnerable, and and that really changed my art forever, because I improved a ton, and I'm doing things today that I could never imagine before. So what I have to say to someone that maybe is making art and they're afraid of feedback, and they're afraid of course, some people they're just a-holes, right? They'll come up to you and they just want to tear you down. Try to identify those and filter it out, but it's difficult sometimes. But feedback, you cannot be afraid of it if you're an artist, because of course we make art for ourselves, but in terms of gaming, you have a customer in mind, the player, so you're making art for the player, and maybe you're making art for your art director too as well. There's a client, there's always a stakeholder, so you need that feedback, and it's your bread and butter, and it's your day to day. So I'm going to do that donut. People are going to come back to me and say like, hey, this edge is too hard. This edge is too soft, or these shapes, they're not working. They're not readable in game. So you need to be able to think on your feet and roll with these punches and not really treat them as punches. It's about the art and not about yourself most of the time, So don't take it personally too much. Don't get too attached to your art. Of course, it's easier said than done, but I think that's some of the advice that I can get to people, that you cannot be afraid of the feedback, because it's what makes you grow. So you need those mistakes.
Well said there, Andre. Because as somebody who buys art sometimes, I'm sure people have asked you for just commissions, and then you'll get that, you'll send it over, and it's like, because again, your job is to try and get, when you're doing commissions, you have to vision what the other person wants, not what you want the artist, but what that other person wants. And it'll
exactly.
be like, it's like, how do I say this where it's not that it sucks, but it's not what I'm looking for. And you're exactly right. People have told us like, no, Mike, that's what I need to hear from you, Mike, because otherwise I don't know what you want. So there is no pressure, there is no hard feelings. If you don't like it, I'll work on it to make it to your liking. That's okay. It's the same thing with writing. You have to keep doing it till you get it right. So appreciate that, those inspiring words from you. So as we bring this in for a landing, Splintered Fate is still really hot. Check it out, guys. Next week, there's some more DLC with Metalhead coming to town. Andre, for yourself, though, do you have any other goals in 2025? Would you like to work on another Ninja Turtles game or any other, games? I'm sure Spider-Man obviously would be a huge blessing if you can get on one of those, but any goals for yourself for the rest of 2025?
Dude, goals for myself, survive. So, no dying to the end of the year. No, just kidding. I'm looking for work right now. So maybe landing a new gig would be good. TMNT, crazy. So if I landed another TMNT gig, that would be insane work.
Hell yeah.
Spider-Man games, dude. I'd always be down for those. There's a PS2 game. I don't know if you know it. It's called Spider-Man Friend or Foe.
My brother, it's on the 360. It's on the achievements. He badged it, or whatever we call it, platinumed it. Yep.
Hell yeah, dude! Did you play it with anyone? Because like co-op is really fun on it.
I actually should play that one call because I was like, it just sounds like a great, like, bone-chilling title, Friend or Foe. It really is
amazing game, dude. Amazing game.
Yeah, and there's so many characters in it.
Yes. Yeah, truly a AAA game. It was made by Next Level Games, amazing company as well. So yeah, dude, that's one of the objectives. I want to become an art director eventually. I want to lead a team. So those are things that I'm always working towards. I'm mentoring people. So I have a Discord where I mentor people, and people reach out to me from all over the world. I'll help them out whenever they need. I'll do it for free. I do it paid as well. So anything goes. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my side.
All right. So if people want to get in touch with you, Andre, where can they find you? Where can they find your work? Where can they get in touch with you? I know you're on X, but any other socials you want to plug for us here today?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as Andre Felipe. You could just search it up. I'm pretty sure there aren't that many Andre Felipes. My art station as well, if you want to just check out my work. Learning Curve Art is my name on Gumroad and YouTube. So that's more of my brand, if for mentorships and for posting educational videos and stuff. I do that all the time. That's pretty much all of my socials, I think. Yeah, mostly LinkedIn, Twitter, or X. Right. And yeah,
excellent. Those. All right. One final question here. Now, I have never been to Brazil, but turtles like pizza. So is there any good pizza out in Brazil? And if so, what's your go-to pizza with toppings?
Dude, amazing question. So yes, pizza is huge in Brazil. We have some of the best in the world, according to some guides and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Some great pizza, authentic Italian pizza, because a lot of Italian diaspora came here to Brazil, Japanese diaspora as well. So a lot of people from all over the world here in São Paulo, where I'm from. My favorite pizza has to be margarita pizza, Italian, Naples style for sure. There's a place right down the road from where I live. Really authentic pizza, great. So yeah, just your marinara and cheese, dude. That's all you need.
Dude, it's good to hear that good pizza exists out of the U.S. and A. Very, very cool. Yeah. Andre, we appreciate your time. We hope you get some work real soon. And thank you again for all the contributions you've had to Splintered Fate. Us Turtle fans appreciate it, buddy.
Dude, hell yeah. Thank you so much for showing the game in such a positive light and hosting me. It was amazing experience. And I hope everyone enjoys the new DLC that's coming out. We poured our hearts and souls and minds into it.
Hopefully many, many more to come.